Wakey, wakey, hands off, Snakey. That's right, we're back. It's been a bitch of an April for us here on Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition. It's been a bitch every Saturday morning for you, and you had a couple Saturday mornings where we weren't even there for you.
And we apologize for that, but the internet gods frowned upon us.
It's fine. We kind of worked our way back in last week, along with you. You know, a little tentative. I do feel bad about our book review, and I'm going to make good on that this week. I felt like we were a little too vague on the Alex Delaware review last week, but I'm going to tie it all in together when we discuss John Sandford. However,
bring it all. It's just like a great rug. It'll tie the room together.
See, you know what he's doing right now? He's stop talking about reading. My head hurts. It's pounding. Just make me the eggs and the bacon and the sausage and make the coffee.
You need to do that for yourself.
Yeah,
we can only do so much for you, you hapless wonder.
What we're going to do is while you're doing all that, we will guide you through your Saturday morning hangover with the best in pop culture. Your favorite politically incorrect pop culture podcast, Sports Frenzy 2.0, with your Uncle Dave, the Conquistador Dave Heights.
And that's your Uncle Kev, the Maestro Kevin Crane.
And we are getting back into the flow again. Again, like I said, a little rough last week, but that's to be expected after a couple weeks off. We are back 100%. We have got you covered on rock and roll, movies, streaming, dumbasses, moments of silence, the usual suspects this week. Starting off with
the rock and roll, baby, because it's all about the music. And here we finally have LA Guns' newest album, Leopard Skin. 10 songs from the boys on this go-round.
Yeah, probably a couple weeks later than we hoped to be reviewing it, but
that's all right. We've got it for you.
All right, this album frustrated me because I think, number one, I'm speaking only for myself here, but I think it got worse the more I listened to it.
Oh, thank God, I thought it was just me.
The first time I listened to it, I was like, this isn't bad. This is really kind of pretty good.
And then it's like, well, maybe not so much.
It's not terrible.
Let's
say that. It's not terrible.
But again, it shows why LA Guns was always in the second tier.
Absolutely what I thought as well. This is why they were never up to the level of
Motley Crue, Poison, Rat,
GNR. Yep.
GNR.
When I listen to the album, again, the first impression is all the songs are solid. But then you listen to it more and more and you realize, okay, they might be solid, but there's nothing spectacular or anything that rises above the level of good. There's no great. There's no great. There's only
one that I thought stood above, which was the first one, Taste It.
See, now, when we reviewed that, you didn't like it as much as I did.
No, but having listened to this a few times, that's the one that stands out.
Oh, boy. Wow.
See, now, I did also like Lucky Motherfucker. That had kind of a...
Lucky Motherfucker.
That was kind of a 70s funk, Alice Cooper-y type.
No, what that was Tracy Guns living out his that's a Guns N' Roses song. I'm telling you. That should be a lost Guns N' Roses track.
It could be.
To me, that sounded like Axl Rose should have been singing that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But again, when I listened to the album the first time through, songs like The Grinder and Hit and Run, I thought were really good. And then the more I listened to them, I was like, no, maybe not as good as I thought.
Yeah.
Now, Hit and Run sounded like a Gin Blossom song.
See, I was thinking Counting Crows.
That's pretty close.
So, Gin Blossom's Counting Crows, that's what Hit and Run was.
Yeah.
See, now the Grinder, the one before it, could have been a Sabbath song.
Yep. But that doesn't mean they're great songs.
No. This one was all over the place.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to rip on it too much because I don't think it's a terrible album, but it's just, I mean, Runaway Train was interesting with the kind of acoustic slide.
The bluesy feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Follow the Money, that seemed like an homage to Kiss.
It didn't do much for me.
I mean, a weak Kiss song.
Yeah.
But this seemed like an homage to bands that they liked.
Yeah, I can see that. And then I will admit. Okay, we had the leadoff track, "Taste It," right, which is obviously a very heavy sexual innuendo song.
Right, straight out of the 80s.
Yep. I love the way you taste down below.
Yes.
But then we get "I'm Your Candy Man," which kind of goes back to the same territory. And at that point, I'm like, okay, guys. Okay.
And not in a good way.
Yeah, this was even more heavy-handed with what? I'm going up and down your aisles.
Yes, that just...
A little bit too uncomfortable for me. Yes. Yeah.
They tried to push it. They went too far with that one.
You can get away with one of those songs in an album, a la Warrant and Cherry Pie.
Yes.
When you go there twice...
Then you got an issue.
You're undercutting your credibility.
Yes.
So, I will give this a pass, but I will actually still be a little bit positive about it because, again, I don't think there's a bad song on the album. Maybe The Masquerade. That one I didn't like.
The Masquerade was the weak link.
I'll give it a weak 2.5 Frenzies.
I'm right there with you.
So no recommendation because 2.5 is the cutoff.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
If you're an LA Guns fan, you're gonna listen to it, but you're probably not going to like it all that much.
Yeah, I don't know if LA Guns fans would like this. Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, because you and I are kind of casual.
Yeah.
Fans of the band. Yeah. Yeah, it's
disappointing overall,
but not terrible.
Right. It's not the worst we've heard.
Right. It's competent, and Tracy Gunn's again.
The guitar work is very good.
Yeah, throughout his solos, his guitar, fantastic. Maybe we're by elimination of not mentioning it. Are we ripping on the vocals? Is the vocalist too weak?
I think some of the vocals are weak, but the songwriting is just not there either.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, this is why they will always be a second tier.
Yep. So neither Dave nor I can recommend Leopard Skin by LA Guns. We both give it a very, very weak 2.5 Frenzies. Now, next week, we will shift back to what we did last week, where we're going to review just a crap ton of songs. A
hodgepodge of songs.
Lots of songs. We're going to play catch-up with...
a cornucopia of songs.
Yep. So maybe we'll do what we did before, and we'll rank them. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
We've got a couple songs from the new Triumph tribute album, Magic Power. We've got new stuff from Bush.
Shinedown.
A couple new songs from Shinedown, who, of course, we are going to see with Bush.
Yep.
In August.
So looking forward to that. Shinedown is so good in concert.
Yes, and I'm going to have to work my way into this whole Shinedown thing. Start listening to some of their older stuff. Then we've got this new song from Sammy Hagar, which came to him in a dream involving Eddie Van Halen. So
we'll see.
Dave and I have issues with the fact that he's going to have all the guys from Chickenfoot playing on it, but he's not going to credit the band.
This is a solo song for him. This is what pisses us off about Sammy.
Yep. But the song is Encore. Thank you, good night. It should be out as you're listening to this on Saturday morning, April the 26th. It should be out now.
But we will let you know our thoughts next week.
Yep. Alice Cooper, the group, not Alice Cooper as you know him, but
the original group that started it all.
Going back to the early 70s.
Everybody's going back.
Yeah, this will be the first album from the group Alice Cooper in 50 years. And the first single is Black Mamba, so that'll be on the agenda as well. Honeymoon Suite is back. Love some 80s throwback rock and roll, so Honeymoon Suite. Good stuff next week.
There we go. You're going to like it.
Now, we have got to play catch up. We mentioned this last week. I was without internet for 2 weeks. Dave was off tending to his wife after her medical issues. So we both watched a lot of stuff in terms of movies.
Just kind of all over the place. And Jen is on a Grey's Anatomy kick. She started from the beginning and it's still going on, kids. It's like season 20, 21. She is now in like season 8 or 9. And over the last few weeks being off with her, I've heard, watched, kind of partial in and out. It's a fucking soap opera.
I was going to say, I was scared, kids, and I know you were too. I was scared to death he was going to say, and I got sucked in and I really like it.
No, it's a fucking soap opera. I half pay attention. I kind of know the characters. I kind of know what's going on, but I really don't give a rat's ass. It's who's sleeping with who this week.
I can't watch.
And
I've never been able to watch a medical hospital drama in my life. It holds no appeal to me.
The biggest bullshit episode, actually, I kind of watched a little bit more because the one patient was undergoing a similar surgery to what Jen went through on her back.
Okay.
Impossible for this to happen, but as part of the fusion of two of the lumbars, your spinal,
right,
one of the screws came loose and got lodged in the patient's heart. Physically impossible for this to happen. Absolute bullshit. So there you go.
Yeah, those shows never did. I didn't watch ER. I don't care about any of those medical dramas.
The only medical drama worthwhile was Emergency, damn it.
I don't call that. No, that
was fire, rescue, ambulance, and hospital. It all tied together.
I don't count that. Don't you dare disparage the great Randolph Mantooth and Kevin Tighe.
I'm not. I'm saying that was the epitome of...
And plus, the commercials I see, that Ellen Pompeo...
She did not age well.
No.
She did not age well at all.
That's what I was going to say.
And she was never that attractive to begin with.
Thank you.
She is not that attractive in the beginning. No. Sorry, she's not. There are other actresses on there so much hotter.
That's all we care about. That's all that we care about.
And are better actresses. There you go.
But now this is an interesting segue to your first review. Even though these shows have, Grey's Anatomy have the soap opera qualities, so does
The White Lotus. And we did finally get through season 1. And we actually got through the first episode of season 2. Oh my God, my biggest complaint. Stop casting Jennifer Coolidge in anything. My God, playing the needy, narcissistic, airheaded alcoholic. It's the typecast for her. Just, no, she's no good. She's awful.
Yeah, I agree.
Be done with her.
But it's not just in The White Lotus, it's her as an actress.
Oh God, she's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
There is no range or depth to her at all.
If you have watched the Discover commercials with her, that's her.
Oh God, yeah.
She plays the airheaded dipshit bimbo.
Needy alcoholic twit. Yeah.
But the premise of The White Lotus is every season it is a whole boatload. Literally a boatload.
Literally, the boat brings these rich, pompous asshats to the ultimate resort.
Yeah. And then we get to watch them as their lives crumble in various ways.
There's a death involved, and then you have to go back to the beginning to see how things develop. And both seasons that we've seen, the first episode, they are very slow in the development of the first episode.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, almost painfully slow in developing. And you would have hoped they would have found their footing for season 2, that it might have picked up a little bit, they might have learned something. Yeah. They didn't.
No, I think that's consistent. I think you've got to get through. It's almost like, I don't know if this is necessarily a fitting comparison, but the origin story in a superhero series.
For the third or fourth time?
Well, you've got to let the characters settle in, and you've got to learn who they are.
But there's a good way to do it and a bad way to do it.
I am not saying The White Lotus is the greatest show ever, but I appreciate the subtlety of it in that it gives us, like you said, these narcissistic asshats.
Yes.
And the first season is the worst. I mean, literally, Sydney Sweeney should burn in hell. Her
my God, she was awful.
No,
her acting was abysmal as well.
But yeah, all you're getting every season is the most arrogant, egocentric people you can possibly imagine. Now, it gets better as the seasons go through. I think they tone it down a little bit every season that goes by, but you're still dealing with rich people with first world problems.
Who revolve around themselves.
But then you do have a murder involved.
Yep. And I will say, season 1... the way it started, you thought, oh, it's going to go one way. But I corrected myself. After 3 episodes, I'm like, there's something else going to happen. It's not this. I kind of think I know where it might go. And in the end, I actually kind of called it, but not in the way that I thought it was going to be.
I think that, again, that's kind of how the seasons play out. You're always kind of expecting...
where you think, oh, it's going to go one way after the first episode or 2.
Yep.
But then you think, nope, course correction.
Yep.
Am I going to guess correctly?
But I think that's what makes it at least as effective as how it is.
Yes. The characters are abysmal. First season... there were 2 characters I actually liked, or 3 characters I was kind of pulling for. The youngest son of the one narcissistic family. The newlywed bride trying to find herself. I was hoping she would have done what needed to be done. And the lady...
Is that my future ex-Mrs. Crane?
Yes.
Alexandra
the lovely Daddario.
Oh.
And then the third one was the spa, the lady in the spa, running the spa. 3 out of the entire cast that you kind of hoped would have found what they wanted. One kind of did. He made it on his own. But other than that, yeah, they're despicable people.
Yep. And of course, that is the motif. That's the theme you're going to see throughout
it keeps
3
you
seasons
coming,
so far.
It keeps you coming back wanting to know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
Season 1, I'll give a week 3.
There you go. Yeah. It's been a while, but I think that's kind of where I was too. I almost gave up on season 1 because
it was hard to get through that first episode.
I looked at it after the first episode or two, and I was asking myself, why do I give a fuck about these people, these characters? Basically, they should nuke the White Lotus off the face of the earth.
Why does this place even exist?
And the world would be a better place for it.
Yeah. And I will say, through the first episode of season 2, the lady overseeing the White Lotus in Sicily, bitch needs to die. But I digress.
It'll be interesting to see how you feel about season 2 and season 3.
Yeah. So we'll see where we go. It's been a few days since season 1. We've been kind of playing catch up with some of the other things that we watch. You know, Ghosts, George and Mandy's First Marriage, Curse of Oak Island. Yes, we're still watching NCIS.
Boy, you guys are the perfect demographic for CBS.
They
love you. Now, of course, the only show I watch on CBS...
Oh, and we are caught up on Tracker.
Yeah, fuck you. I didn't have the internet!
Not my problem.
Yeah, so I am too behind on Tracker. I will get
good.
I will get caught up this week.
That is still a phenomenal show.
It's different than all those CBS shows you listed. I don't know if it's because of the ties to the literature,
That's
literary
part
world
of it,
with Jeffrey Deaver.
But they leave the character who he does what needs to be done. He will shoot first and ask questions later. He's not afraid to get blood on his hands.
Yep.
And this season has taken a very dark turn. And there are some dark things afoot.
Yep.
Which, unfortunately, is what we have in society.
Yep. No, I'm still loving Tracker. That is the one network show that I watch. That's it. That's the only one. Otherwise, it's crap. It's garbage crap. And I still can't believe they haven't changed the title of that Sheriff Country. Oh my God, how stupid
are they still planning on Sheriff Country?
Oh yeah.
When is it coming out?
This fall.
Oh God.
This fall.
So stupid.
The follow-up to Fire Country.
Fire Country at least makes sense. Because where they are, you have fires happening. Forest fire. It happens. That makes sense.
Everywhere is Sheriff Country. Everywhere has a sheriff.
We watch Sheriff Country every week on Reels with On Patrol Live, for the love of God.
Yeah, so Tracker, I will catch up. And of course, we're getting a little close to the end of the season, at season 2.
Yep.
And
Although we've got to get started on I've got to get started on Mobland on Paramount.
Yep. Yeah, I am off Paramount Plus right now. I will jump back on when Star Trek Strange New Worlds season 3 hits. So we'll have a review of Tracker, full season 2 for you. Then, of course, we have The Bondsman on Amazon Prime. All 8 episodes have dropped. Again, I didn't have the internet!
Your internet issues have you behind.
But I'm halfway through. I'm enjoying it. It's our type of show.
It is. It's
yes.
It's good stuff. It's almost Supernatural meets Tremors.
Yeah. I mean, it is a plot that has been done before with a little bit of variance and tweaks.
Yes.
Let's put it that way. Kevin Bacon plays a a bounty hunter / bail bondsman who gets killed, and he is brought back to track down demons for Satan.
Yeah.
Yes. And of course, they're spending a lot of time while he's tracking down the demons.
Why did you go to hell to begin with? I don't know.
Yep. And how can you get out of this? Where's the loophole?
Yeah, he's always looking for a loophole.
Yep. But it's Kevin Bacon, number one. The dude doesn't do anything wrong.
No.
I've never seen anything bad.
I have not seen anything bad from Kevin Bacon.
No, and I watched The Following. I don't think you ever watched that.
I did not get to see The Following.
That blows me away because Kevin Bacon was in it, and then was it James Purefoy, the guy who played Hap in Hap and Leonard, was the cult leader in The Following. I'm not saying it's the greatest show ever, but it was very interesting. So we've got The Bondsman coming up. That should be next week. The full season recap / review should be next week. Because if I can't watch 2 hours worth of episodes
in this week,
unless my internet goes down again, and if that happens,
if your internet does not go down and you don't finish The Bondsman, I'm going to have to kick your ass.
Yeah, well, if my internet goes down, you will find me here in the local rubber room in the psychiatric ward, ranting and raving.
And there you go.
Where's my streaming? Where's my streaming? Where's my streaming?
Why don't I have this? Why don't I have this? Ba 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 ba.
But that leads us to our mutual review of this week as we catch up with yet another show that is about ready to wrap up season 3. But we're going to review season 2 of AMC's Dark Winds.
Yep, the adventures of Leaphorn and Chi and Manuelita.
Yep. And of course, this series goes all the way back to the early 70s. And since these are based on books, early books in the series, which
literally
are in the 70s.
take place in the 70s. Yeah. And it's cool to see all the cars and the vehicles and everything else. They do a phenomenal job setting the tone.
Yep. It's interesting because if you look into the business of Hollywood right now, they whine and they bitch and they piss and they moan about...
Got no new ideas. We have to redo and reboot and recreate.
And it's too expensive to film in Hollywood, but we love Hollywood so much. And give us tax credits, so we have to keep everything way, way, way under budget. So this is the perfect show because you film it in the desert.
Yeah.
All you got to do is dig up some old cars, like you said, and you're good to go. Some old clothes.
Yep. Perfect. Go to a vintage store. You're all set.
Yep.
Raid your Hollywood backlot closets because you know you got the stuff there.
Well, and this is something that Dave and I have been talking about for a while, is that you don't need to break the bank for good stories. All you have to do is go look at some of these book series that have been around forever, like Jonathan Kellerman and Robert Craze, that have nobody's ever touched those series.
No, and they already screwed up John Sandford's Lucas Davenport twice.
Yep. So this is actually the second time they have taken an attempt, and both times have actually been very successful with Tony Hillerman's Leaphorn and Chi.
Yeah.
And, of course, this time with Manuelita. Now, what you have to make sure you do is watch season 1. Because, basically, I'm going to say it. Season 2, even though it's a standalone season, is still too far tied into season 1, where you can't just jump ahead and watch season 2.
Right. You need to know how
because there is
Chi came into play.
Not only that, but you've got the ongoing storyline with Leaphorn's son and his death,
his story
and
line.
the oil well explosion, and Vines and what happened there. So this is almost
that's a
like
full tie-in. You have
it's
to
almost
start
like
from the
season
beginning.
1B. Is what it is. You can't watch season 2 without watching season 1.
And then you can't watch season 3 without watching season 2.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that because I'm getting ready for season 3.
So everything all ties together. And Zahn McClarnon is frickin' fantastic playing Joe Leaphorn.
Yep, he is awesome. He is absolutely awesome. So you do like all the characters. The acting is very good. I like this season better than season 1. I told you my problem with season 1 was you got a little too far into the mysticism, and I'm telling you,
mysticism still plays into season 3 to some extent.
Great. Well, that's going to fuck season 3 over from because season 2 stayed away from that bullshit.
No, as I said, to some extent, it's explained. It's much more cut and dry in 3 than in 2 or in 1.
In 1, yeah, because
it's much more cut and dry.
Yeah, like I said, my big complaint about season 1 was this whole witch woman bullshit, where she was putting Manuelita to sleep whenever she felt like she wanted to, and I'm like, okay, this is not based in reality. You know, now we're taking Indian mysticism, Native American, myths and tales and going too far. We're going too far with
there's a little bit. I've got season.
There's nothing
season 3 wraps up as you're listening to this tomorrow night,
right?
On Sunday,
right? April the 27th. April the 27th
wraps it up,
right?
So there's a little bit, but this one is more easily explained. What's going on? And that's
fine if you explain it, but I just don't.
Season 1 didn't explain. It was just thrown out there. This makes more sense, and as things work through, it's much more realistic and explainable.
Okay.
But back to season 2.
Like I said, I liked season 2 much more. You've got this menacing Unabomber type guy roaming around.
The weird blonde guy.
But once we get
havoc.
The explanation of where he fits into everything, I did enjoy season 2 more.
Yeah, season 2 was much more solid than season
1. So I will give Dark Wind season 2 a very, very strong 3 frenzies.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, as I am playing catch-up here over the next month or so, of all the stuff I had to watch when I didn't have the internet. So I don't need story time. My story time is
the internet was down.
I'm going to review these 2 shows together because there's a common theme here that ties them together.
Like a good rug.
Okay, Lebowski.
I'm going to work that in any chance I get.
Did you hear, by the way, Jeff Bridges, again, within the last week or 2, teased that he would be willing to reprise his role
as
in a
Lebowski?
sequel?
They better have a damn good script.
Yeah, that would... If they're going to do it, they better do it soon.
Because you still have John Goodman is around. Buscemi is still around. Turturro. You could bring them back if you have the
Julianne Moore.
The script has to be good.
Yeah. It would have to be perfect. Because when
you can't just throw it together.
When I watched the pseudo spinoff movie, The Jesus Rules, that was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
It was awful.
And I was looking forward to it so much.
It was just a cheap-ass, generic Hollywood knockoff money grab.
Yep. So, Joe Pickett, season 2. Now, Joe Pickett, of course, is a character in an ongoing series, just like we reviewed Dark Winds.
Yep, Joe Pickett's mysteries, written by C.J. Box.
And they've been around for quite a while. So, on Paramount Plus, you have the first 2 seasons of Joe Pickett. Now, I believe Joe Pickett started on Spectrum, and then Paramount Plus brought it in. This is another low-budget TV show that you can film in the woods of Canada, let's put it that way.
To make it look like you're in Wyoming.
Right, but you get a lot of breaks when it comes to tax credits, and
right.
It's cheaper to film there. Here's an idea, California. Fucking get rid of Gavin Newsom, drop your taxes, and maybe Hollywood could afford to film there.
Yeah, gee, maybe that's why Psych was filmed in Vancouver instead of Santa Barbara.
Well, there were so many good shows that had to film up there. But yeah, Joe Pickett, game warden, always running into trouble with his superiors and pretty much everybody else. Now, Dave and I...
He wrecks a vehicle in every book.
Dave and I have discussed this. He's read all the books. I haven't read any of the books, but I've watched the TV show. I told him one issue that he would have with one of the major characters, and it has soured him on watching the show.
I hate when they PC characters. Leave them as they're written. Stop trying to shoehorn everybody in.
So I don't know if he's ever going to watch it. So all I can tell you is I've knocked out the 2 seasons that are available. I do not believe that there's going to be a season 3.
So I'm not going to invest my time.
And here's where my problems rise in and where I tie in my next review. An ongoing problem Dave and I have with this bullshit when it comes to these people that create these series, going all the way back to Terriers.
Left or right, damn it!
And we never knew the great show featuring Donald Logue on FX, one of the first great shows on FX.
The one they should have continued, but yet they left Louis C.K.'s bullshit show on for how many years?
Yeah. All I remember, I watched one episode of that, and I remember him sitting in a bathtub full of shit, literally. And I said, "This is where we're going now with TV."
You drop Terriers for this crap, literally.
So Joe Pickett does not resolve all of its plot points, leaves you with a cliffhanger. And there is no season 3 as far as I know that's coming. So that pisses me off beyond belief.
Oh, and you were telling me that it takes multiple books in each season?
3 books in each season.
Which is stupid beyond belief. Books. You have Reacher, a season for a book. It started with Hap and Leonard being extremely well done.
3 seasons, 3 books. Yep.
1 book, 1 season. So you had 3 seasons, 3 books, covered brilliantly.
I have other issues with Hap and Leonard, though. If you are going to release a series on DVD,
why are you stopping at season 1?
Yeah,
why aren't you going to drop the next 2?
Commit to the entire series. I have season 1, which is based on, I believe, Savage Season.
Yes.
And then you had season 2 and season 3 on Sundance, but they never released them on DVD. I want the other 2 seasons so I can own them. Why do you do this to fans? Why do you do this?
Why do you fuck everybody over?
Yeah. I want to pay you. I want to give you my money so I can own physically the show. But you won't put it out, and it doesn't cost. This is another thing.
Oh, the production? To stamp a fucking DVD is nothing.
Yeah.
It's pennies.
Make a little stupid sleeve and get a generic plastic DVD box. Costs you $2. You sell it for $20. I'll buy it. You put it out for $20. Season 2, Hap and Leonard, I'll buy it. But you won't do it because you're stupid.
We have to fucking run everything.
So this brings me back to Joe Pickett. So, Dave doesn't want to watch the show, at least at this point, because of his principles about and I'm not disputing him. I agree with him. You guys know I agree with him. But I watched the show because I didn't read the books. So I didn't have the preconceived expectation for this character. We're talking about, of course, the Falconer, Nate. I will say this about the guy who plays Joe Pickett. Again, not reading the books.
Joe Pickett's just your ordinary average guy.
I think the guy that plays Joe Pickett does an exceptional job.
he's not a guy who has exceptional skills at anything.
Right. And that's how this
except
plays
for
out.
finding himself in trouble.
Right.
He can't shoot a pistol to save his life, but you give him a shotgun and he is a crack shot.
This is going to make me sound terrible. This is my final point on my review. And I know Dave and I have talked about season 1 in the past. It's been a while since I watched season 1. Because I wanted to get his opinions on the characters as he's read the books. The female characters in the books, I don't know how they compare, but the TV show, they drive me fucking nuts. The wife starts out fine, but they kind of have turned her into this holier than thou, I am the one that's really solving all the problems for Joe type of character.
See, she does not have that attitude. He asks her opinion. She has access to different things, and she does some research for him, gives him the background, and he puts everything together.
That's how it started, but I think in season
That's
2,
how it continues.
In season 2, it gets a little too far. The scales tip in her favor.
Nope, they fucked it up. All right, I'm done. Never gonna watch it.
And then, of course, what's been a consistent throughout season 1 and 2 is Sharon Lawrence as the mother is just, you just want her to die. She is the most...
Oh, Joe's mother-in-law?
Yes.
Oh, she's a royal bitch from hell who needs to die a horrible death.
That doesn't change.
No, she keeps divorcing and trying to keep upping her lot in life.
That hasn't changed in the TV show.
Yeah, no, she is a horrible bitch from hell in the books. So at least they keep that consistent.
Yeah, again, the dynamic between Joe and his wife, I think, shifts from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah, there's no shift in the dynamic.
They make her more important to what he's doing in season 2.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen in the books.
Okay. It's still an enjoyable show for me. Again, I don't have the book perspective to go on in this case. So I'm taking it from what I've got as a reference point. Joe Pickett season 2, just as good as season 1 in terms of the plot. Again, they are mixing multiple book plots in.
I hate when they do shit like that. No, it doesn't work.
But I give Joe Pickett a solid 3.
All right, there you go.
If you got Paramount Plus, I would check it out.
I can't on principle.
Just like you won't watch the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher movies.
Exactly. There's principalities involved. There's stuff you won't watch on principle.
Avatar, won't touch an Avatar movie.
Yeah, neither will I. So
yeah. So the other show that I caught up on from a couple years ago, and I did notice it's on Netflix right now. So if you want to watch it with the boys, because I'm a sucker for a Western. Always a sucker for a Western.
Westerns are awesome.
Is season 1, this is where I'm tying it into Joe Pickett. This is the only season of That Dirty Black Bag.
Ugh.
Now, that dirty black bag refers to the heads of men that the featured bounty hunter, is chopping off and throwing into his black bag.
Wow.
Which is...
That's dark.
Stinking, seeping of blood all the time.
That is dark.
Because, as he was taught by his mentor, a head weighs less than a body.
He ain't wrong. It's easier to carry a head in a bag versus a body draped over a horse.
Yep. So, That Dirty Black Bag is 8 episodes. And again, this was on, I don't think it was on AMC. I think it was on AMC Plus when they were trying to really push their streaming pay-per-view service. But now it is on Netflix, as they've got this deal going on, AMC and Netflix. But it's an obvious homage to the spaghetti westerns.
Who's in it?
The only person you would know is Dominic Cooper, who played Preacher.
Okay.
He plays the co-lead. You've got two guys. You got the bounty hunter with the dirty black bag, and then you've got Dominic Cooper, who plays a corrupt sheriff with a past that ties them together.
It's not a hang 'em high type situation.
No, it has its moments where it's really trying to obviously emulate the old Clint Eastwood movies. One of the problems I had with it was the guy they've got playing the bounty hunter is obviously supposed to be the Clint Eastwood
type character.
He's
the man with
even
no
from
name.
the looks, he's got the dirty blonde hair. He's dressed the same, but he
got the syrup.
He can't carry the role.
Ah.
He can't. He's not terrible, but you're never going to be Clint.
No.
He's not. He doesn't have the badass attitude.
See, now I would have thought when you mentioned Dominic Cooper that he would have been the bounty hunter.
No. He kind of plays the bumbling. I don't want to. I'm not trying to make him sound like Don Knotts, but the bumbling, stumbling sheriff who cares more about money, and he's got the dirty secret in his past that ties him back to the bounty hunter.
Okay.
There's a specific event that happens
ties the two of them
that we see
together.
in flashbacks from years before the actual storyline we're watching that ties them together. Yes. There are obviously other characters involved. There is the powerful madame who runs the local brothel. She kind of co-runs the city of Greenvale with Dominic Cooper's character, his sheriff.
Intriguing. Only one season.
Bless you. This is the problem. Just like
Are we going to have a fucking left-right situation?
Yes.
Then why do I want to waste my time?
That's the thing. That's up to you. You are going to be frustrated because
I hate being frustrated with shit like this.
There are storylines that never get resolved. Storylines that never ever. You've got a farmer who is struggling between his tendency for violence and he's trying to become a man of God. And meanwhile, he's sitting on...
Oh, so you're trying to get the preacher, Clint Eastwood's preacher character with this guy.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. There's
hang 'em high bounty hunter.
You've got so many multiple references to the old spaghetti westerns. It's ridiculous. So that's the part that draws you in. But
if they're only doing one season and don't resolve anything...
That's what I'm saying. Just keep in mind the fact that if you watch it, you will enjoy the atmosphere, you will enjoy the plot. It does drag at times.
Well, let's face it, the spaghetti westerns could drag at times.
Yes. But at the end, if you're looking for resolution, you're not going to get it. Characters die.
That's fine.
But at the end, the ones that survive still have
unresolved issues.
Yeah, questions that need to be answered. So, I will give that dirty black bag, the one and only season, a solid 3 frenzies.
All right.
And I've still got more coming in the next few weeks. Catching up, kids. Including an extra special review next week that will both make your Uncle Dave happy and piss him off at the same time, which is what I love to do.
That means that there's one that I've recommended for years that he's finally gotten to.
Close, yes. Yes, close. And I take full responsibility for this. This was on me. It just...
And we do this to each other back and forth constantly, so it is what it is.
All right, before we move on to our book review and our movie reviews, I do have some news to cover. And then, of course, WrestleMania 41, baby! I would be remiss before the internet went out again. I was lucky enough. The gods of wrestling shined down upon me and said, we will not deny the maestro his opportunity last Saturday and last Sunday to watch WrestleMania 41. Okay. So, enough with the hype. It was one of the most unimpressive cards I've ever seen in my life.
But as we're talking wrestling, we have to mention, as we did in the sports.
Oh, yes.
The passing of Steve Mongo McMichael.
Yes.
Great defensive lineman for the 85 Bears, for the Chicago Bears, for almost a decade. Who also went on to fame in wrestling.
Yep.
Was he one of the Four Horsemen?
Yes, he was. Yep.
The famed Four Horsemen. Passed away as we record this on April 23rd. You're hearing this on the 26th. Steve McMichael passed away because of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yes.
So after a lengthy battle from 2021.
Yep.
So thoughts and prayers, a moment of silence.
And of course, we're hoping, and I know WWE usually does the right thing. This Friday night on SmackDown, you would hope that they would
give a tribute.
Yep. But WrestleMania 41 was underwhelming with a few exceptions. Now, the one disturbing thing that I don't like about where they're going is they made a big announcement this weekend that they have acquired a Lucha Libre company called AAA. I am not a Lucha Libre guy at all. I hate the wrestling with the masks and
Nacho!
Yeah. Now, Nacho Libre is an awesome movie. Sorry. Awesome movie. I love. And by the way,
it's Jack Black. Come on.
Mike White, who is the creator of The White Lotus, screenwriter for Nacho Libre.
There you go. Nice tie-in.
Yep. So they're going down this road with the Lucha Libre stuff because they're starting to bring in more of them. They just brought in Rey Fenix, who was in AEW. I don't like the masked wrestlers.
Come on, wasn't Rey Mysterio Jr. enough?
Yeah, and he got injured. Rey Fenix actually stepped in for him because it was supposed to be Rey Mysterio. Now, here's the funny thing. Remember back in the day, they don't do this much anymore, but remember when you would have goofball, weird wrestlers like the Honky Tonk Man?
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Somebody who had a gimmick that was just so ridiculous. The Gold Bug or whatever.
Oh, no, Gold Dust.
Gold Dust, yes.
Rhodes.
Yeah, the gimmicks that were so ridiculous. You know, they weren't wrestlers. They were comic book characters to a certain
George
extent.
the Animal Steel.
Yeah.
Chewing on the turnbuckles.
Well, what they did is now they've come up with one of these, even though they just bought this AAA organization. There's a former Olympic wrestler who's been on the roster for a long time called Chad Gable. And he's always been kind of an asshole. He's always played the heel for the most part. And he used to
kind
have...
of the new Arn Anderson.
Yes and no. Yes and no. He used to lead an organization called Alpha Academy, where he was supposedly trying to get all these young wrestlers to follow behind him, even though he's obviously an egotistical nut job. And then he ditched Alpha Academy, and now he started a new one called American Made. It's all about the patriotism, because of course, he used to be an Olympic wrestler. Now he has decided to, even though it's still a mystery, quote unquote.
Yeah,
we have had the recent appearance of a new masked lucha libre wrestler called El Grande Americano.
Oh God!
And it's Chad Gable with his big American mask on with these big Batman horns. And so he came out and he won. And the thing that's bothering the wrestling community, which I think is funny, is that the crowd loves it. The crowd loves him because they're like, who likes a bunch of wrestlers who all look the same with the masks on?
Right.
I can't tell Rey Mysterio from Penta from Ray Phoenix because they're all wearing masks.
The same type of mask.
Yeah. It's boring wrestling to me. You want the characters, you want the personalities. So I love the fact they're parodying all this with El Grande Americano. Beyond that, what else happened at WrestleMania? You had the big match between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. The thing that was interesting about this match, now Tiffany Stratton is this Barbie doll looking plastic boob. Yeah. She's the current champion. They've been saying that this little rivalry that they cooked up between her and Charlotte Flair for the last month was actually, there was some truth behind it in terms of the trash talking. They really don't
like each other?
Yes. Now, Tiffany Stratton won the match. I am not kidding you. You got to look this stuff up online. When she's holding up the belt after her front teeth are completely a mess. They are torn up. She's got at least 2 or 3 chipped teeth in the front.
Oh, wow. So they really went at it.
Yeah. So she got hit somewhere, whether it was with a knee or a forearm or something, and it knocked out either some crowns or pieces of caps or something. Oh, my. She looked awful. She went from Barbie doll to looking like she was Jethro's half-sister in the hills of West Virginia. Wow. That's, you've got to see the pictures. So, the only thing I could think was they had to have rushed her to the dentist immediately the next day for some extensive work. Then, for you and I, Saturday night, Sunday sucked, let's put it that way. Saturday was the show to watch. Yeah. Because the John Cena Cody Rhodes match was a joke. That was a pathetic joke.
We figured it was going to be.
But the Saturday night triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk was a classic. It started off
knockdown, drag down, slobber knocker.
Well, let's the introductions. Seth Rollins comes out first. They said this was the greatest introduction ever. Seth Rollins comes out. He is dressed in this like black tarp. And you're like, what is this? What is he? It turns out it was a flame retardant suit because they handed him a flamethrower. No! And he starts shooting flamethrowers. And they had a big video screen behind him of a building, and he turned around and was shooting the flamethrower, and the building crumbled into flames behind him. It was unbelievably awesome. But it gets better. So he's done. He rips off the suit. He's got his normal wrestling garb underneath. He goes to the ring, and then Roman Reigns comes in, okay, and then CM Punk is set for, and they do this stupid 2 or 3 minute homage to him and how here he is as a young lad and how he said wrestling is his life, and okay, great. Now you know what his theme song is when he comes in.
It's been forever.
Cult of Personality.
No.
Vernon Reid.
Vernon is there.
The whole band is there.
No.
And Vernon does.
No.
Get this. Before they start ripping into Cult of Personality live on stage.
Oh my God.
Vernon does about 30 seconds of Eruption.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, he plays about 30 seconds of Eruption, then goes da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and CM Punk's coming out, and there's Corey Glover.
No. Oh my God.
Yes, so Living Color.
Oh my God.
Playing live.
Oh shit.
Introducing CM Punk. CM Punk coming up from behind.
I got freaking goosebumps hearing this.
Hugging all of them. Going up to the drummer, hugging Vernon Reed, going to the bass player, hugging Corey Glover.
Oh my God.
And then heading to the ring. And they let Living Color play the entire song as CM Punk walked down the ramp.
Oh, dude.
I was like, this is so good.
That is phenomenal.
And then the match was ridiculously good because you had the wise man, Paul Heyman, who has been aligned for so many years with Roman Reigns.
Right.
And he has recently switched because CM Punk did a favor for him in teaming up with Roman Reigns last year at a match. And CM Punk said, you owe me a favor. And that favor was, you now become my manager. So they all come down. Heyman comes down as CM Punk's manager. And they're fighting. And then it gets to the crucial point in the match. Now it's a triple threat, no disqualifications. Heyman's got a chair. Who does he give the chair to?
Ooh, Reigns, Punk, or...
It just so happens that Reigns and Punk are the ones closest. Rollins is in the background. He slides the chair to Punk. So Punk, happy, he's got the chair. Heyman comes into the ring. Punk's about to smash Reigns. Heyman does the whole boom crotch shot. Nails Punk between the legs.
Oh!
Gives the chair to Roman Reigns. So now everybody's like, oh, he's back with the tribal chief. He's back with the tribal chief.
Oh, but wait.
So Reigns is about ready to hit Seth Rollins. Heyman, boom! Crotch shot
on Reigns.
To Reigns.
Gives the chair to Rollins.
He is now with Rollins. Rollins wins the triple threat. Heyman is now manager for Seth Rollins.
Wow.
One of the best matches I've ever seen.
I'm just glad Reigns didn't get it because the bitch don't wrestle.
Yeah, we won't see him again for 6 months now.
What a... I got issues with him on that.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing. He is a great personality, a great wrestler, but the whole bullshit...
I won't wrestle.
Yeah. And they make fun of it, too.
Then
Seth
Rollins
came out, the Raw before WrestleMania, and it was making fun of him, saying, Mr. Limited Schedule.
Must be nice.
Calling him Mr. Limited Schedule. Because, he doesn't wrestle.
He does, what, two matches a year, maybe?
Yeah, well, that's, I think, a little bit more than that, but not much. Not much.
Maybe 4, 1 a quarter?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
And now, I don't know when we're going to see him again. I don't know. So those were the highlights. Most of them on Saturday night. Like I said, Sunday was kind of a joke. Everybody was ripping on the whole Cena, Cody Rhodes match. Cena's now the all-time champion because he's got
his
17th title.
Whatever.
It was a terrible match. The Rock decided he was too good to show up. He was supposed to originally interfere, and I guess he told him, said, no, screw it, I'm not going to do it.
Whatever.
So, it was a weak WrestleMania overall, except for the Saturday night closer was phenomenal. All the way from Living Color to the double cross. Great stuff.
Nice.
Classic wrestling.
There we go.
All right. Good news for you. Maybe. Possibly.
Potentially.
We might not be seeing the end of Harry Bosch yet.
The Renee Ballard series.
Well,
Welliver is going to...
Remember we talked about the fact that they were going to take Titus Welliver and do the whole Equalizer spinoff. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the ratings for that episode where they introduced him a week or two ago were that bad. They backed off and they said they will not be doing that spinoff moving forward. So Titus Welliver is a free agent again.
All right. Which lines up well. We are not quite done with the last season of Bosch Legacy. We're about halfway through. And I know Renee Ballard is getting introduced near the end.
And I saw her in a
series.
A preview. Yeah.
Bosch actually plays a key role in the Ballard series as a mentor, working together. So this will line up brilliantly to keep that theme from the book series going.
And I'm just glad because I
Welliver as Bosch is fantastic.
Right, and I watched a little bit of the first season of Bosch, and it's no judgment on the show. I just got distracted and moved on to something else, and I loved him as. I told you the one book I read of Connolly's with Bosch I didn't like, the Concrete Blonde.
You read the weakest one.
Well, that's the problem, is they made him out to seem like a wuss bag, and I didn't like it.
And it was, in the series of the books, that was the one that kind of hit home for him with the history of his mom. And it was, unfortunately, kind of the weakest of the stories. So
we'll see. I'm hoping that somehow this brings him back as Bosch. Because anybody who knows me knows I can't stand this whole Queen Latifah as the Equalizer crap.
Doesn't work. Sorry.
Now, you and I have watched a lot of comic book series over the years. We watched Preacher.
Too many through
We've
the
watched
years.
Doom Patrol. The one we haven't watched, which I am very interested in finally getting into, because season 2 is premiering July the 3rd on Netflix, and it's the final season. It's based on DC's Vertigo series. Again, this is where Preacher came from.
Right.
The Sandman. I'm thinking I need to start getting into this.
Maybe. I've been
Now,
on the fence
it looks
with
it looks a little out there in terms of all the mythical characters or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, Neil Gaiman's all getting ripped to shreds for all these accusations of abuse and assault and everything.
And he's got some backing that he's not the bad guy necessarily. But
well,
you never know.
You and I always talk about this. You and I always talk about this, is that we will reserve judgment until we see something that comes down in a court of law with proof, evidence, and facts involved. Right. Did you ever watch Pacific Rim?
Yes.
Is it any good? Any good?
It was decent.
Okay. Yeah, Pacific Rim 2.
I know they're going to do a third. They've been talking about it.
Well, I think the third one is
kind of a prequel.
I think the third is on the back burner because they are now going to do a live-action series on Amazon Prime.
Intriguing.
So, I think that might be taking the place of the third movie. So, I didn't know if you'd watched those.
Yes, they weren't horrible.
Okay.
They were better than I expected.
All right, so I should watch those and then...
Don't expect anything great, but they were better than average.
Okay.
So, did you see the trailer yet for Predator Badlands? With Elle Fanning.
Are you reading my mind? I was just about ready to get to our trailers. Before we moved on to our next run of reviews. Yes, I did watch it today. Can I be honest with you?
It's PC.
Can I be honest with you?
You can.
Can I talk to you
Where
honestly,
we have the female predator?
Man to man. I was not impressed.
It did not look good.
I was not. Now, I have not watched Prey yet.
I haven't
the
either.
The Hulu one that I know your son Nick watched, right? And he loved it.
Yeah. This is a PC cop-out.
This looked weak. This looked weak.
It's a weak PC cop-out.
And I don't like the fact that there's a lot of this, the CGI stuff.
Yeah, it's just...
You're creating this whole Predator world, and half the time the Predators don't have their helmets on.
Yeah, it's... me no likey.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's how I felt.
It was... No, it's not... No.
I will be honest, the trailers I've got for us this week, for the most part, I was not impressed with. Heads of State. Did you hear about this one?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I didn't want to. I was not overly impressed with the concept.
Action president again?
Yeah, I'm just done. We don't need it.
You said you were going to watch G20, though, right?
I've thought about it just because of, God, what's his name from The Boys? Anthony Starr.
See,
with his New Zealand accent.
And then you see, got me confused, because in Heads of State, Jack Quaid's in it. So...
Yeah, there you go. I don't know.
I was not impressed with this one either. I really wasn't. I'm not a big fan of action president movies to begin with. And then this one, you've got Cena playing an idiot, moron, action president.
Oh, God, Cena's the president?
And Idris Elba is, I believe, the Prime Minister of Great Britain.
So, oh my God.
They get pulled in together in this little stupid action flick. And then you've got Big Lips, what's Miss Joe Jonas or whatever, Priyanka Chopra.
Oh, God.
It looks awful. It looks awful.
Yeah, I may have to take a hard pass.
At the end of the trailer, it got a little better. But still, I don't know if I want to subject myself to this.
Why do you always have to have Cena playing a doofus?
Outside of Peacemaker, it never works. It never works.
No. I mean, it was borderline with Ricky Stenicki.
Yeah, and I still wasn't a big fan of that.
No. Just stop making Cena out to be the big doofus in everything.
Yeah.
Give him some credible role at some point.
Then we've got 28 years later, the new trailer's out. I don't know if I'm impressed. I'm getting tired of the zombie crap.
I'm over it.
I was watching it, and all I could think of is the same crap you and I talk about with The Last of Us.
It's
the
Walking Dead 2.0.
It's The Walking Dead.
We don't need it.
Then I watched the trailer for the reboot of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I haven't seen the trailer for that yet.
I never watched the original movies.
So. Oh, you haven't?
No, never did.
Oh, never did. Horrible.
So you might like this a little bit of the nostalgia, because you've got Jennifer Love Hewitt in there and Freddie Prinze Jr. Yep. The new trailer for Fantastic Four: First Steps came out. My daughter's in town, as you know, 23 years old, and I tried to explain to her, without sounding like a petty jackass, but I am, why I have a problem with Pedro Pascal.
The boys and I had that discussion this afternoon as we tape this.
I tried to explain to her that you don't understand. Reed Richards never had a mustache.
Never.
Did not have a mustache. And this fucktard thinks he's such hot shit that he won't shave his mustache to play Reed Richards. There's just... I have a problem with this.
CGI it out.
I have a problem with this. And my daughter's looking at me like I'm literally insane.
All right, how about I'm sick of fucking Pedro Pascal being in everything. He's not that good.
Did you hear the latest?
Now what?
Oh, this killed me. This really, literally killed me. Now, you and I, of course, we just talked about this. Do not watch The Last of Us. We tried, right?
It was the fucking Walking Dead all over again. I didn't need to see it.
With the PC bullshit thrown in there. So the new season has started, right? Again, we're not watching it. Guess who made a guest appearance in the last episode?
Who?
Jennifer Aniston. So that confirms it. She's fucking him. Mr. Mustache. She's fucking Mr.
He's not a good actor.
I have lost all respect for her. Because if she was screwing around with Obama and now Pascal, who won't shave his mustache to play Reed Richards, I'm fucking done with her. I am done with this. These women let me down constantly.
Pascal is not that good of an actor.
I don't think he's not an ugly guy, but he's not that great looking. You know? He's not Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling's a good looking dude.
Yeah.
Come on. He gets a little porn mustache, and all of a sudden he's God's gift to women. I'm done with it, Dave. I'm done with it.
It's over. It's all over.
The sad thing is, I don't know what upsets me more. The fact that now that she's kind of confirmed that they're sleeping together by her popping up on his show, or that he won't shave his goddamn mustache off to play a comic book icon. I don't know which one pisses me off more, and I hate to say it, it's probably...
that he won't shave his mustache. Because you know you don't have a shot with Jennifer Aniston anyway.
Bite your tongue, David! Bite your tongue! So, of course, we move on now from our news, and we've done our TV and streaming. It is time for Literary Frenzy.
Yep, we're going to talk books here on Spotify, Good Pods, Pocket Cast, Apple Overcast, CastBox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Otherwise known as iHeartRadio, of course, and do not forget to check out the Facebook page, and don't be surprised if, at this time next week, we are also on YouTube.
Oh, the UB2B.
Yes, as long as I don't have to give a kidney.
Or sign over your firstborn.
Yep. I think we can make something work. See,
and they're not getting my left testicle
I'm
either.
Negotiating kind of like tariffs. You go so far, and then you go, whoops, too far.
Well,
come back a little
bit.
And then you meet somewhere in the middle. That's how it works. That's the art of the deal.
Right.
So what we're going to do, I feel bad about last week's book review. Now we were just getting back after a couple weeks off we're getting into the flow of things. We were very vague on our review of Open Season.
Yep, Jonathan Kellerman's latest Alex Delaware.
Now, I did want to tie in that book to this week's review, so we'll flesh out that review from last week a little more as we review Lethal Prey from John Sandford.
The latest Lucas Davenport, Virgil Flowers team-up.
Right. Now, we won't spend a lot of time on this, but of course, Dave has read all of the John Sandford books. I've read most of them. I kind of got away from the Prey books for a while. I wish John Sandford would figure out what he's doing. Everything's a team-up now.
Yeah, just stop the team-ups. It's fine every so often, but I don't need Lucas and Letty. I don't need all the Lucas and Virgil, although those are really good. We need a Lucas, and we need a Virgil, And the occasional Letty.
Which is what we used to get.
Right. He's getting lazy in his old age.
So, well, at least he's not the evil one. James Patterson.
Right, where he's not farming out the characters.
Right. So I don't want him to do that. I'll take this over that. So the latest, of course, again, Lethal Prey, where we get Lucas Davenport and Virgil Flowers
sucked into a political favor once again.
Involving a diabolical serial killer.
Evil bitch from hell.
Yes.
And the thing to distinguish, Kellerman does not reveal anything about who the killer is initially, where Sandford lets you know who the killer is and alternates between the killer's perspective of what they're doing, what's going on their side, and then Davenport and Flowers doing their thing, trying to solve it.
Right.
So it alternates.
And technically, they're both series are procedurals.
Yes.
Now I loved Lethal Prey.
Lethal Prey was a fast-paced.
I knocked this out quicker than I would usually knock out any book. And again, I had no internet, so that was part of it. But this was a very, very good book. Again, you've got top-notch Sandford. He's writing well with the interplay between Lucas and Virgil.
This is one of his more diabolical killers.
Yes. Yes.
This is one of the top Prey books that we've had in a while.
Here's the compare and contrast that I was kind of hoping to tie the books in together. So that's why we were a little vague last week, because I didn't want to spoil anything leading into this review. The similarity here at the end, the similarities and the differences, is what I want to talk about. In both situations, you have got, in a way, serial killers.
Yes.
One is more of a vigilante
sniper.
Or one's just an out-and-out sociopath, borderline psychopath.
Trying to improve her station.
Right. The endings of the two books is what I want to focus on here. So last week when we reviewed Open Season, this is the case with most of the Kellerman books. Now, occasionally, he had a situation with one particular patient / bad guy he was dealing with where it got personal, burned a house down.
Yes.
But for the most part, these are self-contained books.
Yes.
You start with the murder.
You go through the
Alex Delaware
investigation.
gets brought in by Milo Sturgis, and they solve it. It's done. It's over. I thought Open Season kind of copped out at the end, where I was almost expecting the ending we got with Lethal Prey to be maybe a more fitting ending for Open Season.
Yeah.
Because now with Lethal Prey, we're unresolved.
Yeah, this is the only time I think in the Prey series, or anything Sandford's done, that it was an open-ended ending.
Yeah.
Where there was no final resolution. Although most of his stuff, the final resolution is the bad guy dies.
Right. So that took me by surprise, that we have got an open-ended story here, where we're teased with the fact that maybe
this individual is going to get
off, and be out there again
and try to seek revenge on Virgil and Lucas.
Yes.
Because the individual's already gone after Virgil.
Yep. And I was thinking that's more the way Open Season should have gone.
That would have been a more
Open Season, the way it was going, and they go into the interrogation in that one. they kind of, to me, copped out on that. Kellerman copped out and just basically made the guy in the end a weakling,
a weak
lunatic, and he took the easy way out.
Yeah,
whereas
the
Sandford,
sniper thought he was smarter than everybody else,
and it just took a little bit of psychological
to break him down.
Right. Whereas here in Sandford's Lethal Prey, like you said, this could be the most diabolical villain that either Virgil or Lucas have ever come across, and that she is methodical. She knows the legal system. She brought in a lawyer.
This is the most complex, thoughtful villain Lucas has gone up against, I think, since the original Rules of Prey.
Yeah.
So this is a disturbed character that he wrote.
Yes. This is a great book. Great book. I still don't like the open-ended ending.
I don't either.
I wish I could have gotten the two authors together. Yeah, I wish I could have gotten the two authors together. They should have
flip-flopped the endings.
I would have preferred this one to have more of a conclusive ending. And Kellerman, maybe, I wish he would have written the last 20 pages differently and made his vigilante killer a little stronger.
Yes.
And kept that one maybe as an open-ended, I might come back because I'm smarter than you. Now you get the same thing here with Lethal Prey.
Where you've got somebody who thinks she's smarter than everybody else.
Right. So I will give Lethal Prey, I'll give it a solid 3.5 frenzies.
Yeah, it was one of the better
very
Prey
well
books.
written, very well done. Everything makes sense in terms of the chain of evidence and how Virgil and Lucas
it all together.
Use the true crime bloggers and social media to help them do their research to solve the case.
And they got to stuff that they wouldn't have been able to get to otherwise.
Yep. No, very well done. This is one of the best Prey books I've read in a long time.
Yes, this is definitely
Team
one
up or
of the
not.
top.
Team up or not. So I don't know if the next one will be a direct follow-up, or are they going to make us wait?
Maybe hold off a little bit, let things die down. We'll have to wait and see, but Sandford was definitely in form with Lethal Prey.
Yep. All right, so now we move on to movies. Movies. And this is one that we've been wanting to review for weeks. And again, because I had no internet.
We had to push it back a little bit.
But now, here's the thing. You really need to review Den of Thieves 1. You never reviewed it. I did, because you were off the week I reviewed it. Because I watched it earlier this year. And then, of course, now we've got Den of Thieves 2 Pantera.
Den of Thieves 1, I thought, was extremely well done.
It felt like it was being done by Michael Mann, and it felt like it had that Heat vibe to it.
It did, completely. Yep. Where you almost had Heat meets The Shield. Almost, where you've got the police officers who are crooked, still trying to do the right thing, but still out for themselves and will do anything to take down the bad guys. And Russell Crowe played the leader of that crew beautifully. The tormented, unhinged officer. No, not Russell Crowe. Gerard Butler.
I was waiting for you to correct
Gerard
yourself.
Butler. I'm like, wait, no, it wasn't Russell Crowe. Gerard Butler.
It's all right.
Beautifully played the unhinged.
I think I will say this again. The critics are idiots. Especially after last week and telling you about Honora. Gerard Butler in these two movies
is awesome. He is fantastic.
One of the best acting performances I've ever seen. I am literally the first one. I felt like I could smell the cigarette smoke. around him. You
the
could just feel the
smoke,
character.
The sweat.
Yeah.
The bourbon.
Yeah. The leftover sex from the hookers. You could feel it and smell it coming off the screen. Is how well he played the role.
Yeah. And working through everything and finally figuring it out at the end.
Now, Den of Thieves 1 takes place in America.
Yes.
As they try to rob the Federal Reserve Bank in L.A., I believe, right?
Yes.
Now, the new one that came out here within the last, 6 months?
Pantera.
Is overseas. We go overseas for this one.
You go to Amsterdam to the Diamond Exchange District. The big heist there.
Now, I will say this. A little tenuous here, trying to piece this all together into how Gerard Butler's character gets overseas and how he tracks everything down. Now, it makes sense for a while.
And then it goes off. You have to suspend disbelief in this one.
That's why this one's a little bit weaker to me than the first one.
Yes.
Is that I will say the first 45 minutes I was a little skeptical.
It's like, really?
But
you're no longer a police officer. You've been suspended.
And there's a part of you that can
yourself
believe it.
In to going and trying.
But there's a part of you that believes it because of the person he is and the crappy life he lived. He's been a terrible father, a terrible husband. So it's not a huge leap to expect him to become full-fledged dirty all of a sudden.
Right.
And once they get into the heist itself is mesmerizing.
The heist, the timing,
yes,
the way everything works. Oh my! Both heists, in 1 and 2, brilliantly done.
Absolutely.
The writing, the filming is incredible.
So it starts out, Den of Thieves 2 starts out, for me at least, a little slow. I'm with you a little. I'm like, come on, really?
Really, how are you going to pull this off?
Character-wise.
Right.
I'm like, I'm supposed to buy into this whole Gerard Butler all of a sudden is a bad guy. And then you get the ending, which I did not like the ending. I'll admit it, I did not like the ending.
The double cross, and then where he did, you know what? I'm going to embrace.
You and I don't want to spoil everything for the kids out there, but you and I need to discuss the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I have issues with the last 15 minutes of this. Because it felt to me like
a cop-out.
All they're trying to do is
set up a third.
Yes. And it felt like that shouldn't have been the way the story went. This should have ended.
Yeah,
after the second one. It
should have been done.
This should have been a movie.
And
the sequel made sense after a while. After I was watching it, I was initially skeptical. Then I bought in, and then I could kind of see this would work the way they want to take it. And then they just completely cluster-fucked it in the end.
Yeah. The last 15 minutes set up for a third.
Yes. All we care about is making sure there's a third movie, whether you want to believe this crap or not.
Yeah.
So because of how impressed I was with the heist, and again, impressed with Gerard Butler's acting, is to me just, I don't know what it is, but something about him playing Big Nick is just, he's mesmerizing to me. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
He's got the fuck it, I don't care, I'm going to do what I have to do.
And you never know, is he playing on the right side, the wrong side? How close is he playing it?
Because even from the first one, he was borderline.
Yep. So, yeah, if it wasn't for the cop-out ending, I'd probably be a little bit more enthusiastic about this one. I will give Den of Thieves 2 Pantera a very weak 3 Frenzies.
Very weak 3.
I'll
Whereas
still
the
recommend
first
it.
one, I would give a strong 3.5.
There you go. But I will look forward to watching Den of Thieves 3, but after how 2 ended,
they
better
do
something
fucking phenomenal.
They got some major work to do to gain back my trust.
Yeah.
Because this should have stopped after 2.
Yeah.
And that leads us to, we're going back in time a few years. A movie that I've watched multiple times that I finally got Dave to watch. Again, this is story time rules are exempt because of the fact I had no internet.
That is the story time.
Yes. So I watched this and I said, God damn it, Dave, you got to watch this movie. Finally, after all this time. The Kid Detective. Small movie starring Adam Brody, who we all know
from The League.
Yes. Now I grew up with Encyclopedia Brown.
Well, yeah.
Loved the books. And this reminded me of the darkest, most disturbing version of what would happen in real life
if Encyclopedia Brown grew up.
If actually existed and grew up. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I liked this one as much as you did.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I felt they could have gone. It felt like a missed opportunity through a lot of it with the character.
Okay.
So the solid story background behind it, but there were things that I just felt it could have taken another step further and made it a whole lot better. It felt a little draggy and slow here and there. It didn't.
I can see that.
At times, it felt like it could have been a comedy, and other times not so much. So I didn't think they knew where they wanted to go with it completely.
Yeah, I just it hit with me. I understand all your criticisms, and I can't dispute them. Definitely with the humor, is that it is definitely downbeat.
Every there time are parts where it's funny, where you think it's going to go, and then it's like, ooh.
But it's dark humor.
Yeah.
You know, it's dark humor. Because basically, he thinks he's going to walk in and solve a problem with some guy, and he ends up getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ending is a body blow. The ending goes to dark places.
Beyond the dark depths of human depravity.
But you don't see it coming. And
but
that's
why makes perfect sense in the end.
Yes. And I think that's why the movie worked for me, was because I think you're right. It floats around, you know, kind of whimsical at times, trying to be funny, trying to be serious.
Yeah.
And then it just, the last 15 minutes are so dark. Yeah. And I love the final scene with Adam Brody.
Oh, the final scene is great.
Where it's like, this is how we should all be reacting to this.
Yeah.
You know, he's little kid detective Encyclopedia Brown, and then he
reality
is thrust
finally
into
sets in.
Not only the real world, but the darkest depths of, like you said, depravity in the real world. And finally we get to see him break down.
Yeah. And that's what needed to be done.
Yeah.
But from point A to point B, there was stuff missing. Now, I still liked it. Mm-hmm. Jen did not like it at all.
Okay.
So right. she had issues. She had more issues.
Okay.
But Nick and I did not mind it. So we would give it a week. I would give it a week 3.
Yeah, see, I give it a 3.5. Now, I admit it's not perfect, but I've enjoyed it every time I've watched it.
No, I got more out of it. Jen would have probably given it a week 2.5, maybe a 2.
Yeah, and that could be because of the types of movies we like. I gravitate to the dark.
Yeah, see,
Like Gone,
I don't
Baby,
mind it,
Gone,
which I freaking love.
which I still think is one of the greatest movies ever made.
This, it felt like it didn't know where it wanted to go.
No, I get that. I could see that. I can. And this is not, I'm not saying this is a top level classic, but for some reason I watch it multiple times, and maybe I connect with, the character who peaked early.
Yeah,
and then never can gain the respect back. And in order to end up, in the end, to gain the respect back, you have to go through hell.
Yeah, and he literally went through hell.
Yeah.
So, it's worth watching.
Well, I definitely think it is.
It's worth watching.
Yeah.
I will recommend The Kid Detective.
All right, so now that leads us into, unfortunately, we'll go from a dark, depressing movie to death. It is time for Moments of Silence here on Sports Frenzy 2.0, the Weekend Edition. Couple, and of course, we should acknowledge the elephant in the room. Of course, the death of Pope Francis.
Yes. Yep.
So, I find
and
it
the
odd.
conclave is gearing up.
I was going to say, I find it so odd the way people react to things. Of course, you and I are much, much better than everybody else, but the media, the first thing I read within a day after Pope Francis dies is, streaming numbers for Conclave go way up.
Good God.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Seriously, that's where you want to go.
Yeah. And I saw it in multiple places, in multiple
Freaking
outlets.
Ridiculous.
So it just reinforces
The
my
stupidity
hatred,
of people.
my hatred for humanity. Yes.
Yep.
Patrick idiotic. Dave's going, okay, I should know this. With his TV and movie mind. This is a tough one. Patrick idiotic played Hojan in the first season of MASH.
Oh, good God.
Yep.
That's going back.
Remember
back
Hojan,
in
though?
time.
Remember Hojan?
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, he passed
Wow.
away. Played by Patrick idiotic. And then for me personally, this is a big one for music, because I am such a huge fan of the Cars. One of the most significant record producers of the 70s and the 80s. Roy Thomas Baker passed away. Roy Thomas Baker produced the first 4 Cars albums and Queen's classic albums, including A Night at the Opera with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Thoughts and prayers to his family and
It
friends.
was,
That's
it
a
was
hell
always,
of a musical
It
legacy.
was always him, to me, in the albums we listened to growing up. It was him and Mutt Lange.
Yep.
Those were the two big, huge producers. You saw their name on an album. And Ted Templeman, of course, with Van Halen.
You thought, you go.
That's got to be a good album. That's got to be a good album.
That's the triumvirate of producers.
Yep. Ted Templeman, Roy Thomas Baker, and Mutt Lange. Yep. All right, so we have taken up a lot of time here with our reviews and catching up. So we've only got a few dumbasses to sift through.
A paltry 3, I believe.
As it's time to pivot to the Red Foreman dumbasses of the week.
As you alluded to on the sports edition where we had 3, you mentioned that you only had 3 for the weekend edition here.
That is correct, and do not forget to check out the sports edition, dropping early every Thursday morning.
That's right. So who gets the golden boot up the ass this week?
All right, let's start off with the world-famous Mayo Clinic. Of course, there are Mayo Clinics all over the place, but the main primary Mayo Clinic is in Minnesota.
Rochester, Minnesota, I believe.
Of course, we know that the current government is trying to get rid of DEI. I personally think it's phenomenal because I hate it. But, of course, you're going to find places, institutions, and people who are going to find a workaround. But sometimes that workaround could be really stupid. So, for the Mayo Clinic, they have announced that their DEI office will indeed comply and shut down. And it will now be called the Office of Belonging. And I am not kidding you. That is not a joke. That is reality, kids.
The Office of Belonging.
Yes. The Mayo Clinic will now have an Office of Belonging. Because you can't have a DEI anymore.
Why do we have to have any of this?
I would like to know that as well, Dave. Can't we just hire the best people for the job and not worry about...
Can't we all just get along?
Why are we even caring about the sexuality, the skin color, the religion? I don't care about it. Just give me the best person for the job.
Candidate?
Office of Belonging. I think we need that for Sports Frenzy.
No, we don't.
Who should we put in charge of? Let's put Jen in charge of the Sports Frenzy Office of Belonging.
Yeah, that's not gonna fly.
She's in HR. She'll know what to do.
She's mad with the directives that she gets on who she's supposed to hire, where she just wants to hire the most qualified person.
God forbid, yeah. God forbid we do that.
So.
All right, next up. Now, we know how the Minecraft movie is huge right now, right?
Why?
Well, here's the thing that bothers me. Now, we're gonna kind of blend two genres, two generations of movies together. Because what I read is that a Minecraft movie is starting to cause problems in movie theaters. Because, remember when we were younger...
The Rocky Horror Picture Show? Where everybody brought in the toilet paper and everything else.
Right. Now, but that was a midnight show.
Right.
You would go to
it was expected.
Yes. I went to many midnight shows, not Rocky Horror, but I went to see, like, Dawn of the Dead...
Yeah. And you go to midnight shows, all bets are off.
You would hear beer bottles rolling down.
Yes.
Yeah. But when you're talking about a movie that's been out for 2 weeks, a movie where parents are taking their kids to these movies, playing at normal times,
yes.
7 o'clock at night, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And now I guess our younger generation has decided that midnight movies don't matter. We're going to do this crap in the middle of the day. So there are certain things, I guess, in a Minecraft movie, specifically a line about chicken jockey, where people scream and you jump out of their seats and throw crap at the screen, and you're seeing signs being put up in theaters. Do not disrupt the theater during a Minecraft movie or you will be thrown out.
No, you don't ruin movies. Midnight movies, all bets are off. Regular times, let things go as they are.
Didn't this crap happen with Wicked too, though, to a certain extent?
Oh, I don't know.
I think what happened with Wicked is
people were singing along too much.
Yeah, they'd stand up and sing along to the songs, yeah. And then they had to have separate screenings where they said, this is a sing-along edition.
This is not.
But yeah, this chicken jockey is what they're calling it, the chicken jockey phenomenon, because that's one of the key phrases that sets people off.
Whatever.
This is why I won't go to the theaters anymore. Is because not only do you have people, you're supposed to be able to buy your seat now, which I never liked to begin with, but okay, so you buy your seat. Now people just sit in your seat and you try to tell them to move, and they go, fuck you, I'm going to shoot you in the head. You know, Find your own seat. But I bought this seat. They told me I had to buy this seat. Oh, I don't care. I'm a gangster thug. I'm going to shoot you in the head.
All right. Boom. You're done. Preemptive strike.
This is why I do not go to the theaters anymore. Finally. You remember The Sixth Sense, Dave?
Yes. I know where this is going.
Well, the young star of that movie, who's now grown up, Haley Joel Osment, I don't think he has any sense.
No. He's
mixes up.
He's sniffing his nose senses into oblivion.
Yeah. Haley Joel Osment, star of The Sixth Sense, was arrested recently for cocaine possession and disorderly conduct. And of course, there was body cam footage and all sorts of video footage capturing it, showing up on TMZ. The problem is, Haley Joel Osment decided to start throwing around all kinds of insults and profanity and slurs, and he was mixing his insults up pretty good. Because at one point he called the police Nazis, but then later on, I think he referred to them with an anti-Semitic slur. So here's the thing, buddy. You can't call them Nazis and then call them an anti-Semitic slur. That's
counterintuitive.
Yes.
That's the drugs talking. Kids, don't do drugs.
So there you go. There's your 3 candidates for this week's Weekend Edition. Fred Foreman, Dumbasses of the Week. The Mayo Clinic for the Office of Belonging. Haley Joel Osment for his cocaine-induced rant. And, of course, this chicken jockey phenomenon at a Minecraft movie.
Let's go with the chicken jockeys.
Yeah, boy, I want to go there too. I think I really do. Just because
I remember celebrities behaving badly. We're used to it.
But I remember when I used to be able to. I used to go to movie theaters multiple times a week to see the new movies, and I didn't have to worry about. Everybody would shut their yaps and watch the movie.
Yeah,
now,
there
if you
was
went
no
to
phones.
Like you said, you went to a midnight movie, then it was going to be all out chaos, but you knew it.
Yeah, that's why it was a midnight movie.
But for these asshats
to ruin things in the middle of the day or early in the evening for family showings, douchebaggery abounds.
Yeah. We have got to fix this shit, people. We've got to get back to an era where we had some...
Respect each other.
Common decency and intelligence. For the love of God. Oh, I didn't even tell you about the fact that...
Yeah, since the pandemic, everybody's lost their fucking minds.
I might as well wrap the show up with this. Now, we are on Facebook, obviously. We mention that every week. If it wasn't for this glorious podcast that I love so much, and hanging out with you and doing it...
You'd be off Facebook entirely.
Just like you are. Well, you're not entirely off, but you're about as close to being off.
I have a Facebook account.
Yeah, you're about as close to being off as you can be without being off. I got into a fucking war of words with some asshat liberals this weekend. And I'm like, leave me alone. I told these idiots, if you post political shit and it bleeds onto my page, I'm done with you. And sure enough, I got these idiots. Oh my God, our country's falling into the toilet. Oh my God, bring Joe Biden back.
Oh, fuck no.
Bring Joe, he had the economy humming. And I was like, would you people shut the fuck up and let the adults run the country? And of course now I'm getting all this nasty, hate-filled crap back at me. Again, if it wasn't for this podcast...
Unfriend,
unfollow, yes. I hate people so much. Except for our audience. I love our audience.
Our audience is the best.
You guys are the best. And look for us again on YouTube very, very soon. And it's great to be back. I feel like this week, second week back after the internet outage, went very smoothly.
Yep, much better.
Yes. So that means next week, the greatest shows ever.
Don't overhype it.
We will review Wolfman. Now on Peacock, we got a
myriad of songs.
Crap ton of fun songs. We'll do what we did last week. We'll rank them. Dave and I will, and see how it compares between him and I. We will have season 1 of The Bondsman, our full review of that. Still probably 2 weeks away from Dark Wind season 3. I need time to catch up on that. I will catch up on Tracker. So I've still got tons of movies that I watched.
Yep, I'll have a book review, Blood Ties.
Yep, and eventually we'll get to the latest Hap and Leonard book in a couple weeks. So we will always have
you covered.
Tons of content for you kids. But we are way past where we should have ended.
Good Lord, look at the time.
He's your Uncle Dave.
He's your Uncle Kev.
Thanks once again for hanging out with us, and thank you very much for sticking with us through our forced vacation for a couple weeks. We promise as best as we can
to have new content
outside of Mother Nature. We will figure it out. We will get something to you each and every week, every Thursday morning with the sports edition, and every Saturday morning with your favorite politically incorrect pop culture podcast, the weekend edition. Dave?
Kevin?
Do you want to say those words, those magical words?
Say goodnight to the kids, Dave.
Oh, thank you very much.